And hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. I am so glad you are here today. We have a lot of talking to do tonight for sure, and I've got some great guests for you. So let's go ahead and bring them in. I see you guys in the chat. I love you. Oh my God, all of you. You know I love you. So I'm so happy you guys could be here. But let's go ahead and bring in our guests.
Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up.
Hey.
And it's Brent, of course.
How's it going?
Good, good. And you?
Man. Good.
Causing problems all over the web, I'm sure. Yeah.
Depends upon who you ask.
Yeah. I know. Well, I don't. I'm good with it. I'm all good with it. But
Yeah,
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. We're going to have a pretty kind of serious talk tonight. Yep. And it has to be done. So we're going to go there. But let's bring on our next guest anyway.
Pushing daisies from my face.
Hey, Steve.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien. How are you, buddy?
I am marvelous.
Good. I'm glad to see that. Got a show tonight? For sure.
Sure do. For sure, we're on.
Make sure to kick you out of here on time for that, and hopefully get everybody over there as well. But let's bring on our next two guests. I'm so excited for them to be here. Hey. Hello, welcome, Ryan Tremblay and Ashley Hilt. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, guys, thanks for coming and talking about this. The hoaxers. We got to talk about the hoaxers and what they are doing to our community. But let me start out by saying, for those of you who don't know, Ryan and Ashley, they are on Monster Radio. Ryan, he's a hardcore cryptozoologist, enthusiast, and researcher for over 20 years, and just absolutely fascinated with monsters.
Oh, yeah.
From your bio, that was this long. It's great. It's really great. I'm glad you could be here. You just you found that supernatural creatures are your thing, including Bigfoot when you saw the Patterson-Gimlin footage.
Absolutely.
So hope I know I've seen you around all the groups and you've seen all the craziness that goes on.
Oh yeah,
all the posts over and over and over. And Miss Ashley, she's a 40N investigator, lecturer, podcaster, and an author. Impressive. She's got the heavy interest in the winged humanoids, the Men in Black, and general high strangeness. Her work consists of a mix of field research, personal antecedents, and known science, and a history of the anomalous phenomena. Welcome, Ashley. I love you guys. You guys have a great podcast. You play off each other. Chef's kiss. It's great.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
So tonight we have a little bit of a serious topic. You know, the presence of hoaxers in the field of Bigfoot research can absolutely be a detriment to the scientific investigation of Bigfoot. Okay. Yes. I'm just going to bring up my little thing here and shift us around. I keep forgetting. Let me move us around a bit. There we go. So what really brought me to this, well, I talk about these hoaxers all the time, right? But so much has gone on in the last few weeks in regards to people reposting Bigfoot hoaxes that are known hoaxes with the receipts, with the evidence. And what's going on? People still don't they don't want to believe you. right? They don't want to know what's going on. In fact, most don't even care. You know, half of, I think, our community doesn't care that the hoaxes are out there, which is, I guess, fair for them because a lot of them aren't here for the actual science or the real finding of the Bigfoot, but more for those encounter stories or maybe the fellowship. But I just don't. The TV on is really loud. Can you guys hear the TV out there? Or am I good?
Nope, can't hear it.
It's very distracting. Okay. But there's your channel. I should have brought that up earlier. But I encourage you guys go and sub to Monster Radio. Matter of fact, everybody's channel and stuff is down in the description if you want to go find that and hit those sub buttons, please. But I always start out with a kind of question, okay? And my question was, what is the truth about hoaxers? Well, they're all around us. There are friends, there are enemies, there are trolls, they're clickbaiters, and they're out for fame. Many of them, they want a name. You know, they want a name, and man, how bad is it going to get? Because I feel like it's gotten really bad, and it's, you know, not going to stop. It's not going to stop. But it's endangering credibility, reputation, waste of resources, public perception, misdirection, disruption of field investigations, erosion of trust, and it's become a media thing, sensationalism, right? Because the media only wants to do those crazy, you know, Bigfoots that we know are hoaxes. Point in case the Beacon Bigfoot hoax. For those of you who don't know about the Beacon Bigfoot hoax, it was a series of, it was a documentary. Okay, it was created by Ron English, and he is a pop artist. And he did this thing. And I think it was actually meant to be a student film for his son, Mars. Is that correct, Steve? You're muted.
That I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that he used the pseudonym Randall Hart to post a lot of the videos. And they actually may even predate 2015. There was a number. There was numbers, and it was over a period of years. So for it to be a student film, I doubt it very much.
Only because his son is Mars, and he claims to be the director. If you go back to the end credits, it has Mars' name on there all over the place. Right. And so that was my assumption. But it was posted on Ron's YouTube channel. And it's still there. You can still find it there. So
I think I put the Beacon Bigfoot in my Hall of Shame, I think, around 2010. I mean, that's how long this has been going on.
Right. For a really long time. And I know things are cyclic. They come back. New people come in. They happen to take a glimpse of a photo, and they're like amazed. And then they post it to one place, and what happens? It just jumps all over to all the different groups over and over and over. And it just amazes me that people fall for it. Even when me is going from group to group saying, no, this is what it is. This is, you know, where it came from, who created it. I mean, we have the evidence. We have the pictures of the suits, you know, that they wore and how they put them up, and he is touring with them on his expos. We have all that. We know he's from New York, you know, and he does his whole pop art exhibits and stuff. I have put out several, tried to get a hold of him several times to come on my show and just kibosh this whole thing. saying, oh, it was just this. We were just having fun. Whatever. I don't care, but just to add another piece to solidify, that this is not real. And people want to say, oh, what a cute little baby, Oh my God. Over
He's
and
pretty cute.
over. And
Adorable.
where's the baby? Right there. There's
Oh,
another
so
baby.
cute, like sleepy baby. That's a sleepy baby.
So, but how do we, combat this? The only way to combat it is what I'm doing, what I do, what Brent does, what Steve does, is we tell people over and over that this stuff is not real. And we hope that the people who watch us spread that too. That when you run into these posts, or whatever social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, because they're posted everywhere, that you just give, your opinion, put it in there and say, nope, that's this. It's a hoax. It's Beacon Bigfoot. If you don't believe me, go to this channel, go to that channel, for goodness sake, somebody's channel. We've all had it on before. This is like my 4th time posting this crap. And I feel like it's not going to stop. And at points I want to stop. I want to say, well, I give up, because it's something that's going to go on and on and on. And whether he intentionally hoaxed or it was just for this documentary, I don't know. I don't know those answers. But he could have easily come out and said, hey, it was just a documentary, fun thing, for us to do, and moved on, frankly. But that's not what's happening. People are taking each little photo, and out of many that he had, right, as Steve said, he's done many, okay, and people are grabbing here and there. They're altering the way they kind of look. They're flipping, reversing the images. They're doing all kinds of things to do that. And what gets me is that big channels, okay, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch, I'm going to name them, okay? Rocky Mountain Sasquatch, and
Squatch Watchers.
Squatch Watchers. Renaissance Man is a new one that's coming up. He's been doing a lot of that too. And matter of fact, I had an argument with him. Well, not an argument, but we were talking through chat or posts about that. Well, where did it come from? Who is this, that, and that? And I'm telling them everything in this whole thing. I think I even have it on here somewhere, but
yeah, he blocked me because of the whole Randy Brisson thing. He's a Randy Brisson buddy. He's got videos on there about Randy Brisson.
And he has a thing where he went out with Randy Brisson. For those of you who don't remember who Randy Brisson was, this is the image of Randy Brisson's.
You already knew I was going to bring him up, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Boy,
I had him on there. So,
I've seen that somewhere else too.
That head.
That head, yeah, and it was a dark setting. I have it somewhere, but I actually don't. Brisson is one of the ones I don't follow too much, strangely.
He's a hoot.
But yeah, I take that. But yeah, I've seen that very head before used in another picture that was quote unquote a trail cam picture, and it was at nighttime and it was peeking around a tree a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, you remember it now, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that one, so there you go. But listen, we all know Thomas Steenberg went out with Randy. He caught him red-handed. Caught him throwing the rocks. Okay, what more do you need other than the actual? You want to see him catching him on the video throwing the rock? Maybe that's what we want to see. That's not what we're ever going to get. But at some point, you have to hold somebody responsible for stuff like that, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
there's three eyewitnesses for that,
And there's
and
three.
yeah, so there's
Right.
for
I
that
always
Randy
forget about
Brisson
that.
thing. Yeah.
So what makes you want to keep following people like that? If they're lying to you once, they might lie more, which comes into that whole erosion of trust. You just start not believing that stuff. It makes it harder for researchers to do anything in the community when stuff like that happens. So you have the Squatch Watchers. They put
Oh,
out a lot of clickbaity stuff. I understand why. They have like a gazillion 98,000 subscribers, and I'm happy for them that they do that. But for me, it's all about the clickbaity type of stuff that just to grab those, more followers to their channel.
mhm.
It's really, for me,
Yeah,
it's taken away from everything.
I confronted them about that, and they weren't too happy when
Well,
they're
they
on the
won't be
show.
happy with me either. I've met the guys. I think they're great guys, they're wonderful guys. But I don't agree with what they do. They can do whatever they want, right? But when they post, you can see that second one there is the Beacon Bigfoot hoax, okay? And the way they portrayed it was, what do you think? The baby's hanging on for dear life. It really sways people in a certain direction the way you portray, and it's amazing how people have that ability to do that, right? To sway people's ideas and change them. But what would have been great for me is that all of these little shorts, because it's all about the shorts, doing the shorts, get your, even Brent keeps telling me, do more shorts so you'll, help your algorithm, help your get more followers. But it really, they use
Do it
it.
with good content, not do it with like clickbait stuff that's easily vetted out, especially if they just ask you. But they don't really care about that. They're in it for the money. They don't
Right.
care about the subject itself. So there's no respect there from these people, from the Squatch Watchers. Because, I've had my go at them, not really go, just tried to talk to them. And, um, they blocked me, of course. But, just to try and call them out on some of this ridiculous stuff that they're doing, that's just like disingenuous, that's not holding the subject to a good standard. And it's like, man, they're just tanking it, and they don't care because they're more concerned about the views, about people seeing them. And they, I think some of their last videos are like, wow, Bigfoot is attacking us, or really clickbaity type of stuff. And if you guys are watching, man, we're watching you, and
Ooh.
justly so, because you know it's crap stuff, and maybe they're in the subject for different reasons than what we are, because we care more about the truth and facts and stuff, and to go out there and try and figure this thing out. But they're on a different path. They're more concerned about sensationalizing it so they can monetize it, and probably maybe get like a web series done on Netflix. I think that's their end goal. And that creates a sort of facade of fakeness. It's like,
Right.
you can hear it in their voice and stuff, which is, I guess, typical with YouTube. But
Right. I mean, I think they would have gotten the same amount of people viewing their shorts had they put the truth, right? Had they put something, this is, actually, had they turned it around and made it the truth instead of, what do you think?
Well, they're not conditioned for that. They're actually conditioned for positive, pro-positive Bigfooting stuff. And actually, this was highlighted in something that I'm working on, the whole Ken King, Arkansas Bigfoot, when he was caught hoaxing by one of his members, and they did a video about it, this whole expose thing. And King and his wife was saying that they did that because that's what the viewers, the subscribers expected. That's what they wanted. They kept pushing them to create this to keep this storyline going and creating this false evidence. And so that there is really insightful of why some people like these guys will continue on with this crap. Well, these guys, I'm sure, more commercialized, but it's the interesting perspective of you know, why the hoaxers do it, and you know, some of it is pushed on it by their own fans because that's what they expect. You know, you know, people don't want to hear what's not Bigfoot, and I think that we've all had that experience where it's like nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear more what's pro Bigfoot. That's why Thinker Thunker realized that. That's why he's so pro Bigfoot on stuff, because people want to tune into his channel to have that positive feedback of like, oh, give me the pro Bigfoot stuff, even though it's not, you know, but he needs it to be because he's marketing it. And that's a big, you know, part of the hoaxing, I guess.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Ryan, have you dealt with any type of situation where you knew things were false? Okay, you knew, whether it be in Bigfoot or any of the cryptids, and as you're trying to explain or do it, and you get that butt back, that feet, that
Oh
just
yeah,
that
absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. I mean, a buddy of mine, Carrick St. Laurent, and I, we debunked a Dogman photo, and we went into great detail debunking that, and we still had people arguing that it was 100% authentic. No matter what we pointed out to them, they argued it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gets old, you know, because they don't want to hear facts. They don't want to hear what the photo really is of. They just want that pro Dogman or pro Bigfoot, and they want you to encourage a little fantasies, and it just doesn't work that way. You know, it's kind of sad.
And something you guys should start doing, we should all start doing, so we can start getting a profile. Ask those people how long they've actually been into this subject, because you'll find that they're like 1 to 3 year mark where they're just kind of getting
sometimes
in, and
even less.
Yeah, they're so naive. It's like, oh my God, look, Dogman's real, and it's like,
yeah. I had one person argue with me who wasn't even a researcher; he was just an enthusiast. You know, he liked the scary stories, and I'm like, well, how are you going to argue though, knowing I investigated this stuff? It's kind of weird, but they love doing it.
Oh yeah, you know, it's that Dunning-Kruger, you know, where they think they know more than what they actually do, but they don't.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is one of the cases here of during this last week that Jason Thompson posted the Chaka photo. You know, everybody calls it the Chaka photo.
Renaissance Man?
Yeah, Renaissance Man. And we had that dialogue, and I'm telling him, and it goes on, and I could keep telling you until finally it's hilarious, because Matt Knapp from Bigfoot Crossroads, he was going to be here tonight, but he was busy. He couldn't come. He finally says, Jesus Christ, man, people are telling you exactly where it came from, and you're still arguing about it. And then he proceeds to tell him exactly, you know, what it is. And he throws up all the links. You know, he just starts putting up all the links. So while it's all going on, I was texting Matt, you know, and saying, this guy, I can't believe it. You know, he won't believe us. And Matt's just, he's like, you could tell he was just blowing up. And he, so I know I'm not alone. I know there's a lot of us out there that do know the truth, and we're trying to educate people. You know, it's just getting to be where what makes people so stubborn, you know, that they don't want to hear the truth.
Well, with the Renaissance guy there, I wish you would have told me he was going to be talked about tonight, because I would have tagged him so he could have watched live.
You always do that.
but with him, he's only been in the subject for like a couple of years, so he's still kind of naive and doesn't even. I mean, I think Randy Brisson was his first stop, and apparently his only stop. And so yeah, he too is like a newbie and has a hard time accepting information that, you know, this stuff's already been debunked, because, you know, you're taking Bigfoot away from him.
That could be true. You know, I realize that there are people in this community for a wide range of reasons. Okay. And I'm not even talking about the woo side, which is growing by the minute. Okay. Because we have our, if you want to call us the critical thinkers or the flesh and bloods or whatever. Okay. We still have issues in both sides with the belief, of what's real and what's not real. And if you want to believe that they portal into trees and come out a UFO's ass, I don't care. If that's fine. Then you probably aren't watching me, So,
here's the interesting thing. I want to make a quick point on that. And I've been rolling this throughout my mind the last few days. And what is the harm entertaining that conversation? If somebody wants to believe that, it's all part of the conversation. There's enough facts on the flesh and blood side to argue all of that and argue it down. So I have no problem putting somebody out there that says, well, I mean, who am I to say that somebody did not see a Sasquatch disappear in front of them?
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
But there's reasons for that are scientific. And not that they're even making it up. So I disarm them quite a bit now when I have that conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, do you think about, post-traumatic regression, or your mind not understanding what you're seeing, and it's taking that second or two to click in. And in that second, we all know how quick these guys can run, gone. So just some of the arguments I put up, but I don't mind entertaining the woo side of the argument, but for people to come out and say, well, this is what they are, and I have proof. And it's when they say, I have proof, that's the issue.
Mm-hmm. Right. If something like that were to happen to me, then it would happen to me, and I would have to acknowledge that. I don't think it will, but of course, I'm just starting my journey in that path. So I don't know what's lays ahead. I know I have answers that I want to get answered, right? But it's just, if you have the receipts and you're showing the proof, why is it so hard to believe that truth? Mm-hmm. Ashley, have you experienced anything where, or maybe you are belief in other things, right? But have you had issues with that, with hoaxing, with somebody coming and trying to tell you maybe, you're full of crap or what have you?
I've never been personally accused of being full of crap, but I absolutely have come across hoaxers, and typically we don't see a lot of large scale hoaxes anymore. I agree that a lot of the stuff we see nowadays is just recycled. We don't see a lot of new ones. And I think that the problem is not, it's not just the hoaxers, and it's not just the people that want to believe in these hoaxes. It's kind of on the responsibility of a lot of people. I think the hoaxers do it because I think maybe they start off in these topics with genuine interest, but they find that sharing these over the top stories, gets them more attention, and therefore ego takes over. They start pushing out these fake stories, and there you go, their views or whatever it is they're going for, their book sales, whatever you want to call it up. And as far as the people that want to believe in the hoaxes, I don't know why they do it. We just see that a lot of denial of people that don't want to believe in science. And
I think they probably believe more in the people than the actual evidence that they're presenting, and they're so trusting of the people that maybe they can't see the science part of it.
Right.
Well, which is strange, because they don't believe in other people of authority, which is interesting.
Right.
You see a lot of people on social media that'll comment and tell some really strange, really large stories that obviously aren't happening. I remember, I'm pretty sure she still goes around social media. There's a woman that claims that Bigfoot turns into mist and comes into her apartment, and
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's not happening. Like, that's not real, you guys. And I'm a fan of the woo. I'm mostly a ufologist in all of this. I love the woo. I love a good unexplained mystery, but that's just not it. And people like that do things that extreme because clearly mentally there's something with them. There's some reason
That's
they want to have their moment, they want to feel special, and then everybody else kind of rallies around them and supports it. And I don't know
Yep.
if that's just because we were all the weird kid and we've now found a community and it feels good to feel good, or what. And then, like I said, back to the hoaxers, there are interesting stories out here that are unexplained. There is evidence that is unexplained, and it is neat and exciting and fun, and we could talk about the real stuff. But I think that they're just honestly not good at their jobs. They can't make it entertaining. They don't know how. So therefore they're just going to push out the extra special sparkly BS because that's easier than actually putting effort into your presentation.
Mhm.
That's me though.
No, well, you're right on.
Well
I
said.
agree with you 100%. That's
Nailed it.
exactly what's happening. And yeah, that deserves a clap. So I wanted to say that it was a good lead-in for something we've got coming up. But we're gonna go on with something Steve's done. Recently, we also had the big blow up with the Mississippi Bigfoot.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It is all over the news. If you go Bigfoot in the news and pop that up on Google, it is like 5 or 6 stories, okay, that they're talking about that. And this is and of course Kulls did the perfect video on that with all the receipts, all the everything, okay, to show that. And there will still be people. I'm like, I want to send this to all the news stations and all the online news sites, so that they can do their retraction, right? That would be great.
We
if
know
they could do that.
retractions don't happen in this subject, do they?
Oh,
No. In fact, I
never.
did reach out to the reporter at the New York Post, and that one unanswered. As did many years ago when they mixed up the Patterson Gimlin film with the Ray Wallace story.
Oh.
They had the picture of Patty there saying, "Oh, the world's greatest Bigfoot footage." He confessed on his deathbed that it was fake, and they were confusing that with Ray Wallace. And they actually gave Ray Wallace's date of death on the article when Patterson died in 1972. So, and of course, I wrote the reporter there, "Hey, you need to do a retraction. This is completely wrong. Patterson died in 1972. Ray Wallace did not shoot the Patterson film, and you'd think you'd get just for the sake of clarity, not even saying that this is real, but you're coming up with the wrong fact." And as it turned out, no response. And it's very similar, I think, what we're seeing now from YouTubers like Rocky Mountain Sasquatch or Rocky Mountain Sasquatch.
Kelly Shaw.
We see them taking these stuff that's out there and putting it out there as like, this is real. Look at this. And the media is doing the same thing on a slow news day. We're looking for something to do, and if you have the offbeat thing and there's nothing going on, hey, let me take this old Bigfoot story and put it back out there. And of course, they want no accountability for it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, they don't. It's just whitewashed, and then one picks it up, and the next, and then all of a sudden it's all over again, all through all the groups.
Yep.
Whoa, I never saw this. Because you remember, you got a lot of new people who come in constantly. They find us, they're excited, they're like how I was my first year. I believed everything, all the crap, and unfortunately, I don't remember. There was Steve was around, and there was blogs, doing this stuff, and
Heck,
but
I remember when this used to be email groups. You used to have these Yahoo email groups, and you used to go back and forth.
yeah,
And then we went from there to the forums. And then from the forums to the blog talk radio type of format. And now here we are on YouTube. So next time we'll all be on virtual reality. We'll all have these little headsets on and look at one another.
Oh, it's that one. It's going to keep happening. I know that, but it's all about repetition. Okay. For me, for Steve, unfortunately but it takes away, it absolutely wastes the resources sometimes for like Steve, who's an investigator and researcher and actually goes out there, right? It requires time and effort and resources. And if he's busy trying to debunk, hoaxers all the time, it diverts from your time out, right? It diverts from you going out into the field.
Yes and no. A case is a case is a case. And that's the way I always look at it. And if I can bring it to an end by debunking it, then we can put that one to rest, put it in the can. What's annoying is, like you said, the annoying part is media resurfacing cases that have already been solved.
Right.
This is actually the third video I've done on this, and probably the best.
I agree.
I get back. A couple of years ago, I did one on this when it resurfaced. I did a short on the beginning of the year about it, highlighting the video I did from a couple of years ago because it had resurfaced in January. And then finally, in last month, it just, boom, there it is again. But it's in your face this time more or so than ever. And the problem with what we have here, and this is a little teaser for a video, a deep dive I'm doing next week, is that there was a particular researcher that said, oh, yeah, this was all made up. The name was made up. And basically the production company stole the video, which obviously we have a quote from the actor there, and it was a stage stunt for the show. Mm-hmm. But I met, Josh Highcliffe, and he doesn't want to get involved and all this. And, the number one question I had was, well, how, if he didn't put it out there, how did he find you? Number one. And number two, how did the video find its way to the production company, which usually does not especially a fake production like this particular show? How did they find the video? The only original source of this video is Josh Highcliffe. There is no other posting anywhere on the internet for it. But the funny thing is, the person that said they went out with Highcliffe and had some interesting activity, as it turned out, that person released a picture a couple of years back, and I said, boy, that looks familiar, and I think I found it. So we'll be doing that deep dive next week, and I'm not going to name the person yet, because unfortunately this person has built up a reputation of being reputable and belonging to some reputable organizations. Ooh. So it's going to be a knock to the knees, and unfortunately it is what it is. Yeah. Nikki, you've gone to blur.
I know. Everybody knows. Did it come back? No. Yep. Oh, there it goes.
There you go.
I can't move. I have to stay still. So, okay. Now, another one. Okay, another good oldie but goodie. And why people believed this guy, I don't know. And I bring this up because Ryan brought this up to me. Oh. Is the Peter Kane guy. Oh. Okay. Now, it's ridiculous. Okay. Now he's a satirist. Okay. Mm-hmm. But for a long time, people believed all the crap he was putting out there with his hands and the body parts, that stuff. And it didn't matter if you told people. Now, I seem to remember that early on in his very early videos, he did have a disclaimer in the description, that he was a comedic satirist, whatever. But I went back so that I could, take a copy of that, and I couldn't find it anymore. All his videos do not have anything like that now in the description.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, you got to screenshot everything these days, guys, just so you know everything. And I don't have that proof. All I know is I remember seeing it there and telling people, hey, he even has it in his description that he's just making fun of the Bigfoot content. Just take it as what it is. It's sometimes kind of hilarious and whatnot, right? But I hold him in kind of something totally different, okay? Not like a hoaxer. To me, he's more, he's just a satire. He's a comedian. He's
a troll.
Yeah, just making fun. And
I like him. I like Peter King. I think he's hilarious.
Me too. Me
He
too.
can. Yeah, you
His
can
other
get a
videos
laugh out of him.
His other videos with the bird is awesome.
Yeah.
But nobody beats the Butchie kids.
Oh no! Yeah, I have to say nobody can beat the Butchie kids.
In fact, they actually live about 90 miles from where I live.
Oh,
so they're actually close by, which is kind of funny. So I've actually talked to them a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it'd be kind of fun to do a Butchie kid skit with them.
Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious.
Oh my God, it's a Bigfoot and he's got road rage.
For sure. And of course we have Darth Neff. I call him Darth Neff now.
Oh my goodness.
This happens and people love it. Why do you not see the plastic? I mean, seriously, and I almost thought
their skin's oily.
I found it. Oh, their skin. Yeah, that's right. They have that
oily.
What is it?
Let me do my
the name now.
Let me do my best Butchie kid looking at that picture. That Squatch needs Rogaine.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the easiest mask to find, right? Mm-hmm. I've spent hours, people, trying to look for this mask.
Do you know why?
What? Why I'm not going to? It's been changed.
It's been changed. It's been painted.
It has.
I believe it's been painted.
Mm-hmm. I've found things that look the same here, but not down here. And another thing is that it has ears, and a lot of Bigfoot masks do not have ears.
Right. It's a gorilla mask.
Yep.
And you can tell by the nose.
Yeah.
That is a gorilla nose, gorilla mouth. And somehow I want to say the forehead has been shaved down and it's been repainted. And I think that's why he was so confident in saying nobody's going to find. I mean, when somebody says you're not going to find it on the web, you can almost guarantee you're not going to find it on the web.
Right.
Yeah, and but those eyes sure have don't have the proper eye shine, right?
No. And it's just a pair of sunglasses sitting behind there. And you can see in one of the eyes, you can see him taking the damn picture, Sure. So it's just ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous.
Good job, Dwayne. Good job, buddy. You got him.
I mean,
there's an interesting thing. It's an airsoft face shield. Please send it to us, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone also mentioned that it could be a samurai mask as well, an altered samurai mask.
Could be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, and there's a lot of masks that you're not going to find online. I mean, just walking into like a random Walgreens, look at all the crap they sell. You're not going to find that online anywhere. It's just different. We have little rinky-dink dollar stores and stuff here that aren't actual official dollar stores that sell crap like that. So, I mean, it's clearly a mask, but you may not find it. The teeth are hilarious.
Pardon the French, but even Todd Stanley called bullshit on this one.
He did, didn't he?
He did.
That's ironic.
Yeah. I'm going to play this little part here. And anybody who's a fan of Patterson in the chat, tell me if you really believe this. Do you really believe this?
No.
Really happy to have you in my life, my friend. No. We love you.
I love you.
Oh, that's very nice.
We love you. Ooh, what God do?
Oh man, I love you, buddy.
So what if Mike Patterson actually is so you know, not stable that he's actually being trolled by Dwayne himself, because all the evidence and everything comes from Dwayne, and if you put some, you know, pieces together while they were broken up, he was still obsessed with the area and stuff.
True.
So makes you kind of wonder about this one, if it's a serious manipulation of somebody who isn't.
It could
Who wa-
be. It
you know,
absolutely.
Well,
I don't know.
there was a gentleman that really went after that. He had some inside lines to Dwayne and Mike,
Yep.
and Mike was in on it. The property, you know, he says he's staying because of some of the comments he would make. Oh, I'm staying deep in the woods and blah blah blah. When in actuality, where the tent was maybe 50 yards from the house.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Which is
that.
Yeah,
a community. It's a
Yeah.
community of housing too. So it's not just
Yeah.
one cabin out in the middle
Right.
of nowhere. No, it's a bunch of cabins.
And there's times he said he was out in the woods and he's actually in the cabin. So to me, you know, if he's being disingenuous, you can assume that okay, the whole thing is a mix, and the only ones monetizing it really is him. And you know, to me, it just sounds like a guy with constipation. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else.
What was the whole deal? They had the falling out. They had court stuff, and then they're friends again.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
and I have that
Yeah.
recording. I am not real. You know, I have.
Yeah,
that,
we
the
have that
actual
recording. I should have brought that up. I have, but
Dwayne showed
I
us.
didn't.
Dwayne himself showed us how he did the vocals and how he did some of the evidence. And it's like,
Right.
there you go. But you know, it's weird that some people will want to believe so much that they're like, nah, Dwayne was just infiltrated by the Men in Black, and this is why, you know, he did and
Oh
said
my
that.
gosh.
Oh, you know, actually, that's what Mike says. Is Mike Patterson says that it's he was doing that to protect the Bigfoots and stuff. Is what his thing is, because that was something very specific that I asked Mike Patterson. Was that why did you get back with Dwayne? What happened there? Because you know, I found that whole thing of how they broke up and they got back together, and the things that were done and said, even what Mike told me while they were broken up. It's like, wow, that's weird. But he wouldn't tell me specifically about why they actually got back together, and so that remains a secret. It could be. I mean, I don't know how much like he's really generating from YouTube. I could imagine it being that much. He's not monetizing it in a way where he's like constantly promoting the PayPals, or he's out there on doing like all this stuff, selling all this merch or all this different stuff. It just seems like, I don't know. It just seems like somebody's being screwed with at times, who I guess at times want to be screwed with. I don't know.
Well, when he first started that channel, he was getting a lot of huge views. And he had a huge subscriber base. So, you know, he would probably, I mean, he was getting what 120,000 views a video.
Oh, yeah.
And if you put out 3 or 4 videos or 5 videos a month, you're making a few grand there. So that is a very serious bone of contention. And guess what? Mike probably wasn't giving Dwayne his cut, and that probably caused the falling out. And then he made good on it, and now they're all back together, and let's get the gravy train going. That's probably the likely.
Oh my God. The fisheye they found the fisheye thing, and I was going to put that on here too, and I just ran out of time. But there are so many red flags throughout this whole time, okay? And that, and then Bigfoot is coming into his what do you call his little house
cabin?
The cat? No, what does he call it? Anyway, coming and making drawings on his desk. Have you seen those little scribble papers? So
you got to up the game, you know.
Yeah, you have to keep people interested, right? And he does. He's got a huge following.
But he kind of did a misstep with these, because
a
lot of people, so many people called him out, made them basically publicly saying, dude, almost publicly shaming him in a way, which isn't in a way is what you got to kind of do to to really communicate that to these people. And look how defensive he got about it, and all that fun stuff. And that's one of the best ways to combat, this type of bad information that's going around.
I think even on one of his videos, didn't he say that was supposed to be his arm that he was up on the
Yeah, something like
thing,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, that's like a cloth. It's cloth. There's you can see
very
it.
silky.
Did
Yeah,
you
so
really?
both ways.
Yeah. Do you really think that people weren't going to lighten the photos?
I know he actually told people to stop lightening the photos because it's altering them.
Yep.
Yeah, he actually
Yeah,
did
he
that.
did.
He was getting on people. He was like, stop
missed
doing
that.
that. And it's and it's like, geez, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I missed that one for sure.
Yeah, he yelled at me for that too on my page on Facebook.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Why is it
We've
not
been
going?
I've been round and round and round with the man. We're
Yeah, I
not
should
friendly.
Oh, this
could have
guy.
tagged him
oh,
too.
boy.
Yeah. It's probably better I didn't tell you. Anyway, we how many followers does Todd Standing have? For goodness sakes,
Too many.
Too many.
Yeah, way too many.
But yet they do. And
So I have a very unique way of dealing with what I call the Stanlings. That's his people that go after
like
him.
that.
I call them
like
the
that.
Stanlings. And they start saying, "Oh," well, I turn around and I post the picture of Puppet Face, which is the one in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah.
I actually named Blinky. I was actually the one that called him Blinky.
oh,
It started that whole Blinky
Cool.
thing. But Puppet Face, the one, or Muppet, or whatever you want to call it, I post that picture. I go, so before I answer your question, answer this question, they made a comment, and I said, well, just answer me this question. Does this look like a real Bigfoot to you? And they will never answer it. They won't answer it. Right? Because, right. And as far as the one in the lower right hand corner, that's his father, believe it or not, in makeup.
yeah.
And there's a
believe
video
that.
breakdown of that one too. And there's another picture where you can
Whoops.
clearly see there's little moles on that are painted over. But the moles are on his father because I have a picture of his father from years ago. And the same hairline.
Yeah.
He does try to sell it though. When he talks, man, he really tries to sound convincing.
Yep.
Right. Okay, we're gonna get to one of Brent's faves. Brent's faves for sure. Is that
Oh no.
Mark Zasky? He is Bigfoot. He has claimed to be Bigfoot. And
part
it's quite
Bigfoot.
exciting that
Yeah.
Brent actually got hold of that, and I'm
know.
actually
It's random.
gonna show it. I'm gonna show it. So
Do it. I won't strike you. I promise.
okay, promise.
Maybe I will.
Promises. Hold on, there I found it.
You know, help in the ratings, Brent? Just strike it.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that's turned up. Okay, here we go, folks. You gotta love it.
Understood in the fact that I have it in my lineage that one of these creatures got one of my relatives. Our family DNA is being studied right now.
Oh my goodness.
And I was, I had literally had to have surgery to make me look human. That's not a joke, it's the truth. Looking at
All
This is even
Mr.
better, though.
Congratulations on learning about your new family lineage, being part Bigfoot. I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but that's, I guess, what you are now, huh? Congratulations. At least it's not a dog man, right? I mean, dog man would be bad. I'm sure, right? Nobody wants to be part dog man. Get fleas and stuff. I just want to congratulate you and I wish you the best on that. Being part Bigfoot.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when Zasky was born, his parents took him to the circumcision sale, half off.
I was drinking something when Brent said fleas and stuff. I was like, oh my god. I couldn't help myself. But it is that's his own doing. Okay. I'm here. I'm posting it and showing it because that's not right. Right? Something's not right.
He's got to
And
be trolling.
Well, he removed the video, so which is kind of odd, and it's like this was during I think a live. I'm not sure. I actually just literally just like, man, I was looking for something to listen to. I was working and I clicked on one of his videos. I'm like, well, let's see what Zasky's up to. I actually clicked on this video and I was just skimming through it and just was like stop and listen to a part, and it just happened to be that part right there. So I don't know the history of why he thinks his family was introduced into the lineage of Bigfoot, but
sounds like to me, old habits are coming back.
I think he was just reading a Chuck Tingle novel. I don't know if anybody knows Chuck Tingle, but
well, I know Zasky's past because I did a little backup research, and I know his past, and it was quite a bunch of years ago, so that's why we really don't mention it. But one must think that if you're starting to make claims like that, you're either going back to your past or you're hitting the bottle or something, because that is totally nonsensical.
it doesn't make sense. And there are gonna be people out there that are saying you're picking on people. I didn't do it, it's out. It was out there for the public to see,
oh, I'll pick on him. That's insane. That's not real,
yeah.
and it's not happening. So,
And
Well,
I don't see the
Bigfoot
problem with
research
talking
is
about
over.
it.
Just go study Zasky. There's the blood. Just go right there, right?
There
That's
is
what
a
he's
good-
saying. That's what he's saying, people.
Paid
Now,
$1.99.
Let me B asked if he is sick. Is he sick with cancer?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard.
I don't know.
I haven't heard. I mean, obviously, if he's on some kind of pain medication, that would cause him to say some off the beat things.
He was very articulate when he said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but he's always been saying stuff like that. Like when COVID hit, he thought that they shut down the entire state of Florida because of his Bigfoot research. So it's not that far of a stretch for him to start claiming he's part Bigfoot. So it's like, yeah, sounds about right.
Oh my goodness.
He's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, come on. He's like he's obsessed with being on top, of trying to be on top.
Unfortunately,
Nobody believes him.
Yeah,
It's because he's so ridiculous.
he has it in his lineage, though, Brent.
He does. Well, I
You're
tagged
studying.
him. I tagged him in that video. When
I know.
posted that. I tagged him so he saw it, but I guess he deleted it because he felt silly. It's like, man, yeah, that was kind of stupid. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a retraction. I haven't noticed if he's done a video since then.
Oh, I didn't even think to look at that. So I don't know. It's crazy. We're going to keep on going, people. It doesn't stop. Okay. We're going to go to something that is, to me, okay, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because to me, that picture doesn't match that picture. And I'm not even talking about the 2023 Todd Gatewood picture. Okay. I want to take it all the way back. That 90s picture. Who did the 90s picture again?
I think that's from the positives from the actual film itself that MK Davis got from the positives when he went down there and visited Mrs. Patterson as requested by Chris Murphy to do an analysis, or just go down there and stuff.
Right. It's still from 2023, and people are loving that photo, by the way, that 2023 Gatewood stuff. But it's changed. Okay. The AI has created, and that's what it does. Every time he put that photo into an AI system, it created something new. Okay. And that's what AI does. Right. It's added stuff. So,
well, the thing is, with what he did is he admitted to me that he did 12 to 15 different programs, which I took a screenshot of 12 to 15 different programs that were of the trial version. So he doesn't even have formal training in the software that he's actually using to create the image. So he probably himself doesn't know the necessary steps that he took to create this image, which is why this image is such a pale difference to the one that he's producing right now of the full figure patty that kind of looks like it's been airbrushed. Now he claims that it's not altered or anything like that because he's using the real film and stuff, but and there's no pixels, so there's no AI being used. But what he doesn't realize is when you upload it to a computer, you're creating it in a pixel form, and so you're breaking it down pixely, and he doesn't get that. And you know, he's still kind of pushing this, but it'll be interesting to kind of see with the narrative that he's going to go with forward, because they are actually they're reproducing this film, the PG film, with Todd Gatewood enhancements. So just imagine when that comes out, of how it will, either take over the community. It's like, oh my gosh, look, this is the real thing right here. I could see the eyes and all this stuff and all this, or it'll be a massive failure. It'll be one of the two, but it's coming, and we'll see how well they do and how well the public responds.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing we got to look at and understand is, and people need to understand is, okay, what you're looking at is a representation of how artificial intelligence is interpreting that. It's not the actual image.
Artist interpretation is what I call it.
Exactly. It's no more, no less, except for it's done by a computer, and it's done probably in about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
it's almost the same as a sketch artist and how they operate. So
Right.
I mean, it's like them drawing that picture based off of your description. And are they close? Well, sometimes, but sometimes they're
Wrong.
not.
I mean, is this evidence? No, it's not. It's an interpretation, so it's not even evidence.
Right.
Yeah,
And that would be fine if they said that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I have proof that he's trying to pass it off as the real thing, like the real deal. So it's like, dude, you're being disingenuous, and that's something that him and I kind of had a disagreement about. But yeah, he's a hard person to talk to. That he's out there pushing the whole massacre narrative.
Yep.
That's why you see it popping up everywhere, and it's like, dude, come on, do your work. And that's actually why he blocked me.
Well, it's not doing his work. He needs an education. He needs to know what evidence is and hypothesis is. And obviously he's got them mixed up, because the massacre theory is nothing but a hypothesis, and a very poorly based one. There is no evidence whatsoever, zero. Just because one guy says, well, that looks a little red. Well, blood doesn't dry red. It doesn't even dry rust colored. It dries black or very deep, deep brown, because the iron in the blood oxidizes.
Yep.
So,
but he too is also a newbie in the subject. He's just getting in the subject, and I think MK Davis is his first stop, and really his only real resource in the subject, which, you really want to spread your wings a little further and get all these different sources before you go out there and embarrassing yourself with stuff that's like, man, that's horribly bad, like laughable. Because somebody else did took Todd Gatewood's 2023 photo and actually did a Photoshop on it and made it look even better. So it's like, well, where do you stop with the 12 to 15 programs, Todd? And he won't answer me, that's for sure.
Remember the day if you used to Photoshop a Bigfoot picture that was hoaxing?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, to put this out there as real, we would consider that a hoax back in the day. Back in my day, when I started this, you Photoshop something like that and put it out as real, sorry, you're hoaxing. Because that's, if you're enhancing it using image filters without adding contextual stuff like AI, then that's fair. But when you start doing artist conceptions, as Ashley made a great point, that's not that's not evidence.
Todd actually says that he doesn't use AI for this software to create this particular image or his images, which I think he is. But he says that he's using a mathematical program that figures it out mathematically with the mathematical algorithm. And
that's AI.
I just imagine my conversation with trying to talk to him about that. But yeah, so that's what he's claiming to do is like, it's not AI, it's mathematical. I have full control. And it's like, I don't really think he understands what fully he's doing, and what he's presenting, how it's just not evidence. And, he's out there presenting it as evidence. And, just making them, mudding up the waters, really.
That's a really good example of pride and how much it can really ruin somebody
kidding.
in
No
this
kidding.
field, because he just refuses to look at the actual science of what it is that he is supposed to. I don't know this person at all, but if he's like he's like, oh, it's not AI, it's mathematics and blah blah blah. I mean, that's just, you're at that point you're just oh, there's a word for it. It's like when you're trying to use large technical terms and just to sound smart. I mean, that's basically what he's doing. It's just AI. It's what you're still doing the same thing.
Well,
Instead of admitting that he's wrong, he's going to double down, and he probably even recognizes that you're correct and that he is probably doing too much with this, but will never admit it. And it's sad.
Mhm.
Well, that's just
it
his
is.
lack of
It-
education.
Yeah, it is, because this is the same guy who threatened to sue me. He threatened to weaponize the court system against me, the IRS against me. He was going to have me arrested, and I forgot some of the other threats. And it's like, dude, wow. But he's going around telling people that stuff if you challenge him. And it's like, nah. So that's what people encounter when they, encounter these type of people in there. It's just, he's a more rare, weirder example of it, but
Sure.
they're out there.
Mhm.
So you got to watch out.
It's hard for people to admit when they're wrong, because again, that pride gets in the way, and that's eventually, as for people listening, how you kind of separate the people that you should follow and the people that you shouldn't, is that the people you follow, their opinions should change over time. They should change with new science and new experience and new bits of education, and if they don't, then I'm sorry to tell you, eventually they'll get mixed up in some insane theory and run with it.
Right. It's
Yep.
all a misdirection, right? It's they start to lead real researchers into believing this stuff, and then once he gets somebody behind him, if Gateway gets somebody behind him who believes him, who is somebody, then it just festers, right? It goes for the next person, he knows what he's doing or whatever, without even checking the credentials. It's just like a waterfall effect that, all he needed was a few people to believe what he was doing, and everybody's going to start getting on the bandwagon that, oh, look at the great work he's doing this and that, and
It's the borrowed
without him even
credibility.
knowing.
Yeah, it's where you're getting into borrowed credibility, where he could be using MK Davis's credibility or wherever that's at to bolster his own endeavor that he wants to do, which seems to be enhancing the PG stuff in a way that nobody's ever has, using software that he will not tell you what it is because he said it's proprietary at this point. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. So guess what?
Ladies
time.
and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We are expecting some turbulence. Thank you.
We are going to get into some other stuff now, and nope, not that stuff we already talked about. My whole take on things is that if you have extraordinary claims, that requires extraordinary evidence. Okay, I've always believed in that throughout this whole time investigating and being an armchair researcher, okay, that I am, is that if you're going to make huge claims, have something to back it up, or don't post it. Because in my world, the minute you post something, it's going to be fair game. And that goes for me too. Just like me posting the whole Beacon Bigfoot hoax little short I did. Okay. Got a lot of people upset. I've been getting crap about that little thing. Well, if you're going to put pictures up and tag, fake on all of them, you should at least tell us where you got it. I go, well, obviously you didn't watch the video, because at the end I show you the freaking, costumes of the freaking Bigfoot family. Mm-hmm. So, but it's fair game. It is fair game. Because if you put it out there, you need to be able to defend yourself, or show your evidence. Exactly. We've got people who claim they've habituated Bigfoots, right?
Mhm.
They feed them, they come to the back door, they exchange gifts. Yet we don't have one photo, one video, and they say, well, they don't like to be pictured. They don't like to have their picture taken.
Cop out.
I don't need to prove it.
You know? So do we believe them? Most people believe them. Oh, okay. Bigfoot's shy. let's not disturb Bigfoot and him, you know, taking the garlic or taking whatever from the backyard. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. That just
Blueberry
doesn't.
beetles.
That doesn't make sense. Why do they have to prove their claim? Because they made it public.
Yep.
You can have the shittiest evidence, but you were there, you took it, you know what you heard, how you felt. Keep it to yourself, right? Or let it stand up to the criticism, which is what we do, right? And that goes for anybody, and it goes for me. It goes for the experience I just had up on Mount St. Helens. I don't have proof of anything. I don't have video. I don't have audio of what happened to me, but I know it happened to me.
And so just said maybe they'll use Nikki's out of focus webcam.
Is it out of focus again? It's not out of focus right now.
No, it's not.
Enzo, I'm going to get you, buddy.
Nikki, you need to talk to that other guy because you might also have Bigfoot DNA in your family.
Oh, shoot.
And with all the blurriness going on.
Yeah, it just does it. It's hey, I believe in the paranormal stuff. Okay, I do believe in the paranormal stuff, and some crap happens sometimes. Anyway, I just don't associate it with Bigfoot at this time. Let me put that disclaimer. But what do you think? What do you think about the people who are just allowed to make statements without having the backing? Okay, because there's a lot out there, especially in the Bigfoot field, and we're going to get to that make huge claims.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they make huge claims, and
no.
It can go on for miles, matter of fact. Miles and miles. I actually stopped because I'm like, it's ridiculous already. This is just from 1.5 videos of watching Patrick Vaughn. Okay. Patrick Vaughn came into the scene several years ago. Has it been like 3-4 years ago already?
Yeah, like 3.
5, yeah. And came on the scene with a lot of things to say. Okay, he's knowing what every knock means. He's had 32 encounters since 2003.
33.
33 now.
It was always 33.
We're shooting for 50 by the end of the year.
Well, yeah, it's probably moved. So he's seen the individuals. He's tracked them. He's had 8 face-to-face encounters. He's working on his single knock theory, right? Of course, Bigfoot Explorer went out with him, and they didn't get one knock back. They did get some knocks, but they weren't right after his single knock theory, as far as I know, because I was watching the video, which there's just one video of him out in the field that I could see. His profile has completely disappeared off of Facebook. There's no way to go back and look at any of that stuff. So these claims were made, but we allowed him into our circle, okay? And often he was on Pat's channel, Squatch Talk, and it was a thing, right? That he would tell us what all this stuff is, that Bigfoots can run 40 miles an hour. He saw a baby Bigfoot being born.
Oh, gosh.
And we allowed that to happen without a whole lot of flack. And this is something that's kind of a passion for Brent, who thinks that we needed to take a little more responsibility for some stuff like that. When we let stuff like that happen and just maybe push it under the rug, or we don't mention it, that things like that happen. Now, I'm not attacking Patrick. He's a nice guy. I had many conversations with him, but the work, okay, the investigations, the stuff, the claims, that's what's kind of confusing, and it's happening all over. He's just one example, and yeah, I'm using it as an example of things that he's done. And you're saying, well, he never said that. He never said he saw bait. Well, we did find it. Brent finally found, where he does.
Donald Fuller found it.
Well, actually, he didn't find it. Somebody else found it and gave it to him.
Yeah. So I'm not.
I just wasn't going to mention names, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I wasn't the source, so I don't want to take credit for something that I didn't do.
Oh, okay.
It was given to me. Yeah. So
yeah, we found that. I have it here, and maybe somebody did catch them mate or give birth, but would they let you tell the tale? I have. And later on, I remember there were more conversations about what did he say? He said he saw that. Mm-hmm. I remember those conversations in other places, not necessarily off of that one.
Because that was on Squatch Talk, Brian Dunning's show, right?
Mm-hmm.
March 1st, 2022, I think.
So they're out there. We know these things have happened, and he did that, but there's no backing to any of those claims. You just are kind of like, you believe them or you don't believe them. But there's even more to it than that. And I mean, look, he says he felt the breath of a juvenile on his leg. We're I don't know.
Yeah, well, I just kind of think that since we were on podcast with them, that we should probably take some sort of accountability for, in a way, promoting him, because we were at that time talking about, hey, we should be mindful of all these hoaxers and stuff. And someone even actually made the comment to me. It's like, man, I'm surprised you guys fell for somebody like Patrick Vaughn. You guys are they're supposed to be the critical thinking group, and how could you allow Patrick Vaughn in there when he's obviously hoaxing and stuff? I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I actually never believed Patrick Vaughn. I sent everybody in the circle and stuff. I sent messages out as soon as he showed up. I sent messages out to everybody. Just blew up their phones like, dude, this guy is full of shit. We got to keep him away and stuff like that. And it was just me versus them trying to talk to him about it, because he should never really been included in the discussions, because he was what we were talking about against. And so it was just really kind of unfortunate that people invested time and resources into somebody who obviously is not being honest, who's kind of full of crap, because there's different things to even show that. So it's like, because I even asked Patrick, I'm like, hey man, did you something about seeing a Bigfoot being born? He's like, nope, I never said that, but here we go, proof that he did. And it's just, people like him are interesting because of I think the way he's tried to create the information that we should all be following. But it was like, because he was so adamant about people pushing his single wood knock theory, his whole wood knock hypothesis, really, that it was like, it's just really wasting people's time. But people went out there and did it, and stuff like that. But it's like, so it's like he's producing and creating all this bad information, and in a way that we kind of helped validate in a way by not calling him out, by allowing him in the discussions when we shouldn't have. And I was just think that we should. So everybody, I'm sorry that for my part in that.
Now, you guys didn't know his story before you had him on, unfortunately, right?
No, well, we kind of all did a little dive on what he had on like the Bigfoot explorers and stuff like that. So we had like what we could have, but with Patrick, he's really personable, and he was able to use his charm into kind of pulling the wool over people's eyes, and just kind of like, let's just give him some time to prove it. But it's like, because it's like his whole thing was like, hey, we can't. I can't prove it because I can't have anything in my hand, so I can't record it. Well, I came up with the idea of like, just have a chest mount and then just have a camera, your GoPro, go out of the shirt and stuff. But he wouldn't do that.
So I would say this: welcome to becoming a veteran, because every Bigfoot researcher gets with somebody eventually, no matter when they start out, and as they go through their journey and they learn that lesson. But this guy sounded real personable. Here's a lesson that goes back to Dr. Warren Cook, anthropologist at Castleton State University. He was the preeminent Bigfoot researcher in the early 70s and 80s in New York State. He was the mentor of my two mentors. But he went out to talk to Ivan Marks, and he got the films, and he brought them back, and he even said, you know, these films don't conform to what we should expect a Sasquatch to look like at all. He goes, but I'm really having a hard time believing that these are fake, because the Marxists were just such nice people to me, and they were personable and genuine. And you got to always remember, the con in a con man, the con stands for confidence, and you don't build confidence by being an asshole. Of course, unless your name is Rick Dyer.
But, well, Lori Simmons was the same way. She was really personable. People liked her. Anybody asks, oh, she's so nice, so bubbly, so great to be around.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's part of the con.
Mm-hmm.
You see her real, really behind the scenes. It's like, that's Two-Face.
And it went on for a long time. Eventually they had the falling out, Pat and him, and he kind of went off to the wayside, and we still see him in chat, and he could be in our chat right now. I don't know. But it's just, how many of people like that are we allowing to make claims without us saying anything?
Well, how many people are out there that we don't even know that are like him? Like, we can spot Patrick, there's signs to spot people like him, but some of them are more subtle. They don't make the more ridiculous claims like Patrick does, of like, oh, I've had 33 encounters. Oh, I've seen him mate and have birth and blah, blah, blah. I think he was trolling us all, honestly, because we didn't even have his real identity. So it's like, should we really be accepting information from where we don't even really know who they are? I get keeping your identity secret because you don't want it to permeate everywhere. But is there also a certain point when you start becoming friends with people, you at least say, hey, yeah, this is actually my real name and my identity? Because it's like, how can we vet these people out if we don't really know who they are? And it's like, it just seems like, the Patrick Vaughn character is a character that was created to troll the Bigfoot community for, various reasons, probably just for the fun of it, just because people get bored, and because he's in like all the chats and stuff, because a lot of people are friends with him and stuff, and and they'll still be friends with him even after learning all this stuff, or even after realizing it, because some people just don't care about it. They'd rather still be friends with the person versus versus accepting them as a hoaxer, because they just really don't want to go down there, which is really kind of weird too. It's like, wow, that's weird to have that.
We did get somebody jump into the back. Let me real quick bring them. Well, you want to finish what you got on your mind, Steve? What do you?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. Okay. We got Alex Petikoff. Hey, how are you?
Good. What's up, guys? I know I probably missed a lot. I'm not a huge sports fan, but tennis is my one sport obsession, and the U.S. Open just happened, and Novak Djokovic just won, so I'm in a good mood. So we're good. I'm not in a bad mood, at least. So
you know what? I bet you Alex crosses the street better than any of us.
That's funny.
I did hear a little bit of the conversation just the last few minutes about PV, right? So yeah, and I had him on my show at one point too, back, I think it was at least 2 years ago at this point. Maybe it was it was like 2022. I don't know if Nikki, if you recall, but and it was just it was interesting. I tried to be as neutral as possible, but it was after that I started kind of digging a little bit, and I think that's when some of the allegations were coming out about some really weird kind of stuff. And I see him every once in a while in some of the chats, but
I'm sure he's in chat right now.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and,
Well,
Patrick?
they're just extraordinary, right? They're above and beyond what the normal researchers even do. We all see stuff and we say what we see and blah blah blah. But when you say, that what is it? Oh, he claimed that 30 years is like 90 years for Bigfoot, and that's their middle age. How can you make a statement like that?
yeah, that's
How,
just
how
crazy.
you're just making that shit up is what you're doing when you say something like that. But people will believe you if they follow you and they love you, and they're gonna just take it as
But
fact.
let me just caution something too, and I just want to, just because somebody is making up extraordinary claims doesn't necessarily mean they're lying. What you need to do to prove anybody is being a liar in things, because remember, the burden of proof is not on the defendant here, it's on the prosecution. So you got to keep that in mind. People think the burden of proof is on the person that saw the Bigfoot. No, if you want to prosecute them, it's your burden of proof to prove that they're lying. So keep that in mind too. Innocent until proven guilty. That's the foundation of our country. So when
I'm
we
too
hear-
close to Mexico. That don't apply here.
that's
I'm just kidding.
But when you look at that, you have to take inconsistent statements and then start putting them together to prove. When you just have storylines, right? We may say, hey, these sound ridiculous, but I would come far short calling a person an outright hoaxer, because we don't really have the proof that they're lying. They're saying, they're giving a story. I don't believe it,
Right.
but I have no proof to say anything against, unless they start saying, well, I've had 30 sightings one time and 25 the next, and then it goes back up to 30, and you start finding inconsistencies in stories, and that's what you want to gather to nail them down, to say, listen, we know they're fabricating because of this. I mean, we did that with Alan, because Alan had during the course of his interview made
Right.
several inconsistent statements, and we were able to focus in on that.
But sometimes they don't really give you those little details for you to I don't know, to kind of figure out with it,
And that's what you have to live with, unfortunately.
But that's
the
why you
best
don't look at other ways to maybe figure it out if they're lying or not by,
body language
different routes.
interpretation
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
But even that's not necessarily a solid 100% science. That's not admissible in court either. Right. So you have to look at what you
Like
can
the
prove.
story even. I look
Right.
at the story mainly of well, let's kind of look at what he's talking about
Sure.
and all this stuff. And then, give him solutions to problems that he's saying that he's having, like the whole thing, he can't have anything in his hands. I gave him the perfect solution for it, but he would never do it. He kept pushing the goalposts further back and back. Oh,
Right.
they can sense IR, or blah, blah, blah.
And
It's
that's a great
playing
example.
games at that point.
That's a great example to say, I believe this person is telling us a lie, but or making the stuff up, but it's not concrete proof. If you can show something and corroborate that with other circumstantial pieces, right now, what I would consider that is circumstantial. He's making excuses. He's pushing the goalposts back. He's being evasive about certain things. Those are all circumstantial. But until you get that inconsistency that you can say, aha, now we have two inconsistent statements on the same event. Now we're starting to have proof, and then you put that proof together with the circumstantial stuff, then your confidence level can go up, saying, hey, we know this guy didn't see this, and this is the reason why. The Katoomba Yowie video was one of the ones that I had where I interviewed this guy, and he says, just ask me anything you want to know. And then all of a sudden, when I started asking about the other voices in the video, he said, oh, I had this. My wife was... what did she say? What did he say? Was ordering dinner from an nearby Indian restaurant. And he goes on and on. And then finally asked the question, well, you told me I could talk to one of the witnesses or email one of the witnesses. And he blew up at me. Well, I don't have time for this. Well, you just said that you would go to any length, right? I'm going to put that aside, though. But then he turned around and he wrote again. I told you, I said, other than the two people that were there with me, my wife and her friend were preparing dinner, which was not what he said in the first story. He says his wife was ordering dinner by herself at an Indian restaurant. And that's where we could start to say, oh, he's making the story up. and then you put the other circumstantial pieces of evidence involved in it, then you can make a solid argument that this is a baloney and go on. So that's the only thing I would caution. You got to catch them. That's the art of being an interrogator and interviewer, is catching them in that inconsistency and asking questions.
Well, or for me, or because some of these people, they don't give the evidence right away, and then they'll just go away if it starts getting too hot, but
so
but even then I'll still be like, I just don't believe them. I don't have the evidence, but why should we even believe them? Because they won't even help prove themselves. So it's like, well, why even trust it and believe what they're saying? So.
And as a seasoned investigator, what I would say to folks on that thing is put it aside, be pragmatic, because people like that will reemerge. And when they reemerge a year down the road, they don't remember the lies they told a year ago, especially when they're deleting Facebook posts. Right?
Well, caught him in the lie with the never seen the Bigfoot give birth.
Exactly, and there you go. So that is the major focus point of that whole thing. So you did catch him in inconsistency about what he had seen. And okay. So now we do have some evidence that he's lying about certain things and not other things.
Yeah.
Right. Oh shit! I turned into Bigfoot again.
Yeah, but in this subject, for some reason, I give the bar a lot lower. Of like, okay, you've had plenty enough time to prove it. So it's like, okay, I'm done with you now. Is how it really got with Patrick. Is why, because I was telling everybody, I'm like, dude, this guy, no, we should not have him around, but. Everybody's like, no, whatever, and so it's like, okay, give him a chance and give him these things, so you give him time to like prove himself. But it was like, nope, that never happened.
But again,
post back.
Think like an investigator would. You're the prosecution, so it's the burden of proof is on you. Remember that. Don't set the bar on them. Set the bar on yourself to come up with this evidence. And if you don't set it aside, wait, because eventually it will show up. And that's my suggestion as a professional investigator.
That's good advice.
Is that way you're not being accused of, well, you're calling everybody a hoaxer, right?
Yeah. I prefer to have receipts. Patrick's the only one that I've really, publicly talking about, only because I've dealt with him a lot in the past too. So there's a lot of this private stuff of like, wow, this dude is not trustworthy at all. Manipulation on all these different accounts. It's like, dude.
But you're doing. Let me caveat this. You're doing awesome friggin' work, Brent. Awesome friggin' work. So I don't want anybody to think that.
I don't want you to think I'm Squatch Detective. That's why. I think I learned it. Shoot, man, I was watching your videos.
I just don't want you to think I'm picking on you. I'm not. I'm just trying to.
No.
We want to improve the process.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Right. And it was. I agree. It is kind of an overstretch. There's really not the evidence there, but there's also. It's at a point. Well, should we really believe him? Why should we believe him?
Nobody says we. Yeah, nobody says we have to believe him. Nobody. You can always say, I think he's pulling our legs here, folks. That's fine, but to actually label them with the H word, you've got one particular area where he does. It's very minuscule, but I'm sure as you go by and when he reemerges, which he will, most of these cats will come back because it's the ego. They will come back. And then they'll be so far askew what they said the first time. So documentation of what they said the first time around is crucial, because when they come back, now you don't even have to talk to them. I wouldn't even confront him about it. I would just go, hey, look, now he's saying this. Look what he said a couple of years ago. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Well, I'll eat my dirty hat if I'm wrong about this one.
I don't think you're eating hats. You got to understand. Usually your gut feeling is usually the right feeling on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ryan, I was gonna now it's simply left me, but stuff like this happens all in not just Bigfoot, in all the different paranormal groups, ufology, all of them. They've all had issues with this type of you don't have to call it hoaxing, it's so easy to make up stories. And you can't prove it, right? You can't prove anything. So it ends up being like a Steve Istall channel, if you know who he is.
Exactly.
And you just have stories. And we know there's people who have claimed that they're sending him bullshit stories or chat GPT stories just to see if he'll air them.
Yep.
So... what's your feeling? What do you think about, that type of stuff in regards to...
Nikki, I got to go.
Oh, okay. Bye.
See you, man.
Guys, I'll see you over on the other side.
Hey,
Thanks
see you
for
at Whitehall,
being here,
Steve.
Steve.
Take it easy,
Too, brother.
Steve. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. You know, I know people love their horror stories. You know, you're never going to evade that. That's just going to be a constant. But I think if somebody's going to tell a story on a show, they should vet that story and make sure there's some facts with it. Don't just take it as fact because you get it in an email. You know, it's not something I would do. You know, I don't know. I think it shows a decline. It shows a decline in how the people want to work for their shows and what they're willing to put out there.
I mean, we have the internet at our disposal. It takes 2 seconds to throw a name or something in that bar to see if something comes up. You know, just to
Look
see
at some of the stories, though, Nikki. You know, some of those stories are so fantastical, like, you know, bulletproof cryptids or, you know, cloaking cryptids or ones that are flying or whatever that don't normally fly. And does it really take a lot of research to verify that? No. You know, people are just getting lazy. And I think that laziness is really starting to show.
And well, it's not going to stop. You know, we know it's not going to stop, but it's that we talk about it. My whole thing is that we talk about it, and maybe it puts a little bug into somebody's ear that, okay, let's just pay attention to the red flags. Everybody's got that gut feeling. And when you have that feeling, you know, run with it and pay attention to it, because often you're right. You know, if that doesn't seem logical, then it probably isn't. But I know there's people here who just want to hear the stories. They just want to be happy, joy. I know that. You know,
in a lot of cases, though, you know, you got to remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it most usually is. You know, you're not going to get some story that is authentic where a Bigfoot comes out and shakes your hand. It's BS if somebody tells you that.
Have you guys talked about any AI stuff at all yet? Or
a little bit. We'll get to it. Let me bring somebody else just popped into the back.
Because I have something to add about the AI stuff.
Oh, okay, great.
For literally from today.
We will talk about that. My most favorite person in the world is in the back. Hello, Thomas. Welcome.
What's up?
Hey, gang, the electrician just left, and look, have you ever seen this place so bright?
Wow, looks good. I'm so happy you've got everything all figured out.
That's the first time that light above this workstation has worked since 2019.
That's good. Well, we're happy you could join us, even if it is at the very end. You missed everything.
That's okay. I will review.
You'll review it. That's okay, because you can always say your motto, because it applies all the way around. You know, always stick to the facts, people. But anyway, we did touch a little bit about AI in regards to how it's kind of the Patterson Gimlin new photo that came out by Todd Gateway. And how it altered, it's altered that image significantly.
Yeah, that's not proving anything. That's altering what you're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which has been done. I mean, there's a piece of artwork that my friend Rob Roy Menzies, who's from Alaska, he did this, and it's his illustration. I mean, he does incredible Bigfoot art. He's been doing it since the 90s. He did stuff for Bobby Short's website. I mean, he's done stuff for a lot of different events, for posters. He did this close-up image of Patty that has been shared all over the place. And he's told me about it. He says, people share this all the time. They never attribute it to me, whatever. But people claim that that's a close-up of the footage. When no, it was his artistic rendition of what close-up on Patty looked like. And he sent it to Peter Byrne when he was still alive. This was like in the 90s, just as kind of like a, hey, check this out. Oh, really cool. And he made prints and sold them. So he never intended it to be like this is what the Patty looks like up close, but people have run with that for decades now, with that image saying this is a enhanced close-up of Patty, when no, it was just an artistic rendition. But that's kind of the difference, it's like it's tough to establish that.
People forget that in the 1960s there was a huge difference in film quality between professional filmmaking and home movie cameras. People often complain about the quality of the Patterson Gimlin film, but it's really no worse than your grandmother's home movies from the attic of family picnics back in the early 60s and 70s, really. It's no different than the Zapruder film of the Kennedy assassination. That was just the best you could do. So really all this so-called improvements that people keep claiming over the years, they're adding to it. They're not improving it. They're adding stuff to information that wasn't there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And thus getting a distorted view of what was. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just speaking of distorted views, I was going to say.
Right now.
You're out of here, camera. You're out of here. I got to do something about that. That's not right.
Is it clean?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I cleaned it.
I was wondering, did you guys discuss the new investigation into the Josh Highcliffe, Mississippi video?
Yeah, Steve Kulls was here, and we went through that one.
Okay.
And yeah,
I think they talked about it on This Week in Bigfoot. I know.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it. It's all over the place. Yeah. Even the regular news is talking about it. So
right. Because Mike Lucci there from CRC, he did a story on it for This Week in Bigfoot. I was hanging out with him like a week ago. We did some squatching. He was like, "Oh, I just got to talk to Steve about that whole thing," and I didn't know some of the details about it because I just kind of thought it was debunked a while ago. But as these things always rehash,
it was suspect, but it was kind of like he did follow up and realize and got the guy to basically admit that it was all for a show that never took off. It was a publicity stunt, and the guy's real name isn't what he is. He's an actor, the guy who supposedly cooked the footage, and his name is Richard Louis. No, I can't even pronounce the last name. But anyway, the whole damn thing was a publicity stunt for a TV show or that.
Oh, never... yeah. I have it here. Oops, but it's not playing. Why is it not coming up? Are you still talking about the Mississippi or something?
Yeah, Mississippi.
Yeah, the Mississippi. That was what's his name? This guy, Bosworth, Richard Lewis Bosworth. Yeah.
Okay, his name is Bosworth, not Byworth. Okay, I got that written down, Ron.
Yeah. Whoops. No, I don't want to go away.
See, hoaxing, in my opinion, has reached epidemic proportions.
Oh, yeah.
It is ridiculous. There's a lot more of that going on than serious investigation, in my opinion.
Well, that's where the whole Patrick Vaughn thing comes into question. It's like because he was trying to influence the investigation, like the real people, boots on the ground, with like stuff that was most likely made up. I mean, there's no evidence for it, but this is going on record. I don't believe him. Never believed him. So I don't know about anybody else in the circle if they believe him or not. You'll probably have to ask them, but never did. Was always spoke up against him. Actually, that's why I'm probably one of the few people he blocked. He blocked me a long time ago, actually.
Yeah.
So just wanted to make that clear because, I feel, man, we kind of promoted the dude in a way.
Hey, a real researcher, you're not only trying to prove the existence of the Sasquatch, you're trying to prove its possible non-existence as well. Okay. And partly because you want to find an answer. And part of that is exposing hoaxes when you come across them. That's just as much as far as your job is investigating a fresh set of footprints you think might be real. Right.
And I've never once, now that I've actually been out there with Thomas, never once did he ever say this is a Bigfoot print. He always said alleged before that. Always. In any of the conversations where we were out there and we found, several good prints, they look like big feet out there, he always will 100% refer to it as alleged. And that's what we need to do, right? We do have to do that.
I can also attest to that, having when we interviewed Thomas in British Columbia at the Harrison Hot Springs Tourism Center. I don't know if it's officially called a museum, Thomas, but it's
a combination of both. Yeah,
it's like a visitor center or Sasquatch museum. We interviewed him there, and I had Thomas talk about they had a whole display of track casts, including one of the ones that I think Bob Titmus found in northern BC, and then one of the ones where I actually interviewed the kid who found the track. That was the one in Merritt, and I had Thomas talking about it, but I interviewed the kid separately before I interviewed Thomas. And despite Thomas having been involved from basically when that track was found, when it was sent to him and all that stuff, he still never referred to it as a definitive Sasquatch print. And these are, really good looking tracks, but he would always say, this is very interesting stuff, maybe some of the best stuff, but not, he would never say 100% it was a Sasquatch. And I think that's something that's definitely much needed, because you have people jumping the gun, and a lot of times just hearing stuff they don't know about, talk about a lot of those alleged sounds that have been talked about before. I know Thomas has talked about it, the coyote call story I find really interesting. Yeah, and just that snowballing and people blasting those sounds in other places that are turned out to be coyote. And it's like you have this just circle of misinformation that's being used for research techniques, and it's just like, oh boy, it muddies the waters like crazy.
For sure.
It really does.
But that's a Bigfoot right there.
That gun's a little 22, right? It's a tiny little toy pistol.
It was yeah.
That was a possibility.
I should have put the picture of Thomas, flat out on the ground looking, he was with his little poker and he's examining this foot. It was pretty cool.
Well, it was amazingly dry. There was actually more than one track there. It was, but that was probably the best one of the bunch, because of the guys. Dakota had the 4 to cover it up for us.
Is it that one? Was it that one? Was one of them?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even see on that weight.
Yeah.
One of these.
No, that's one I took of it with the measuring thing I carry with me.
That's a really good one right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one?
Both of them.
Yeah, something would be. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but something that would be a really good idea is to actually block the whole print from the sun, and then take a flashlight and then put the flashlight at different angles, so you'll actually pull up different perspective, or different shadowing of the print. So that might be an interesting way.
Did anybody 3D scan it?
Yeah. Mike Gallagher did it.
Awesome. I think those are so awesome to be able to have that technology now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like most of the new iPhones you can scan right on there. It's just another cool thing you can do. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. What time is it? We are pretty much coming to the end. The last one I had was the whole creature in the giant sequoias, because that's one of my favorite ones. I love to talk about, but maybe I'll.
Is that AI image, or which one's that?
No, it's the. Hold on.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. The film. Yep.
Yeah. Hold on.
I know what you mean. Where it's running through the trees. Great.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah, that is actually that's a good one.
It's the Sean Bannon student film, and it was kind of weird because people wanted to believe this so bad, because they had actually put out several photos, right, of this, and he had put out a claim that it was real. They had been out there. What you're seeing on the left there, what he wrote was he put out that they had been out and they had arrived at a trailhead, and the footage you're seeing was all shot in one day, and so it made it seem real, right?
Somebody else used that too. I don't know if you remember Kat Hansen. Kat Hansen was passing that around as her Bigfoot footage.
Oh my gosh, really? I didn't know that. I mean, I know she's done a lot, but she's still gorillas faces and everything. But
years ago, she was passing that around.
But people bothered Bannon enough to where he finally did put it in the bottom of the description on the channel that it's not a real Bigfoot. He finally put it in there. I had this photo, and I used to have the photo of the Bigfoot sitting on a log, and the head was off on his laps. And unfortunately, I can't find it anymore. I don't know if it was in another computer, but I did used to have it. I saw it because I had found several pictures, but that was the best one with the guy sitting on the log with the fake head, on his lap. But how do you know that 10 years ago I was gonna need that photo for real? Because it keeps coming up. And then we're not going to do show me tonight, guys.
Can I do one quick little tie in here to some AI
absolutely
stuff?
Yes, go.
So we're talking about like this student film. There's been tons of this stuff that's come out in the past, I think pre-social media, where it was a film or it was something somebody doctored, and that is how they tried to kind of attract attention for a project or just fake something in general. Now we have this storm of obviously AI stuff. You guys probably recognize this image.
Oh yeah.
So this one was spread so much that actually Reuters, so the news agency, put out a article on July 7th, 2023, fact check 1883 photograph of Bigfoot or Sasquatch is AI generated. That's how mainstream that photo got in terms of, it had thousands of shares on Facebook. I still see it showing up. And then today, literally today, I saw in a Facebook group, somebody had shared this photo saying, oh my God, look at how many people are holding this thing up. Amazing. And then I literally created this image and I said, I just made this. So I made this myself in Midjourney AI, and I posted it as a response to their photo. And they haven't responded, but other people said, how do people still believe this stuff? It's AI. Why wouldn't this have been shared before? If this has been around since the 1920s, why haven't you seen this 10 years ago when Facebook was first becoming a thing? So it's like people want to believe so hard. They'll believe that Sequoia's footage a decade ago. Now they're just believing this. There's so much less effort to create an AI image than it is to go through making like a student film with a Bigfoot suit with a really good Bigfoot costume. So it's like a never-ending uphill battle for basically trying to get any kind of real stuff done.
I had even taken it to where I found who generated those photos, and it is out of an Instagram guy called AI Experiment.
I know that one you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, I showed it on here before, but it doesn't. The people just, I don't know why they want to believe.
And what's crazy,
even when you're telling them,
that person may not have even done it as a hoax. Their Instagram is all fake Bigfoots from AI.
Right.
They're just doing it for fun.
Posting for fun.
And then somebody else decides to roll with it, and it's like, well, the cat's out of the bag. When the AI footage starts getting better, that's going to muddy the water. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be like rinse and repeat.
It's going to get pretty bad out there for sure. Man, I really want to thank Ashley and Ryan for coming.
My pleasure.
I will have you back on for sure, and we'll talk about your guys' paranormal stuff.
Okay, sounds great.
What you guys are up to and what you're doing. I appreciate you guys being there. Brent, you got anything coming up?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
You always have something going on. But
yeah,
Alex, what about you?
Just more Alaska videos. Obviously, I spent a month and a half up there, so and then I have British Columbia stuff actually is coming up. So I'm really excited. I got to interview Thomas. I got to interview Leon, obviously from Bigfoot Okanagan. A bunch of really cool BC researchers.
Yeah.
A guy named Alex Solanak. Thomas, you know him. Just some really cool people in BC. So I'm really excited for those videos. So just that's basically it. Just Alaska and BC stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, my hat's off to you. I only had 4 days worth of footage from Mount St. Helens and I was going insane. So I
have like 2 terabytes. It's obscene.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
Thomas, you going to be with the Buckwas crew doing anything?
Nothing with the Buckwas crew scheduled for the next couple of days. I just came back in from last night. Went out up the west side of Harrison Lake and saw 3 deer, 2 raccoons, 1 black bear, but no Sasquatch.
No Sasquatch. Well, I do know that Ryan, you are going to be on From Behind Tall Trees, CARC on Wednesday?
Yes.
Yep. That's Wednesday, the 13th at 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 Eastern.
Mhm.
And are you going to be talking about the Wendigo?
And the Skinwalkers, of course. My
And
usual
the
regimen.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be sure to listen into that. I wanted to make sure to plug that for you. You got anything going on, Ashley?
Yeah, everything, but
Everything.
I can't really think of anything specific. I don't know. People that follow me know. People that don't can listen to my weekly show on Wednesdays. We Talk Weird and figure that out. But yeah, I'm just kind of winging it right now. All this stuff, so it's fun.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And I do have something serious to talk about before we leave. So as soon as we end the show, I'm going to put you guys in the back. If you guys can hang on in the back, I'd like to talk to you a bit. But I do have...
I got to go. I got to
Oh.
go make dinner. Yeah, so...
You don't have to. Your kids are all grown. For goodness sake.
No, well, my mom's here, so...
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's really... they are grown, but they usually,
Okay.
can make dinner, but no, it's not supposed to make dinner tonight. So it's
Okay.
for real.
No.
I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture. It's breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, I expect it now. You got to prove it. You better prove it.
I'll prove it. It's like breakfast for dinner is my best one. It's like, yes.
Don't neglect your mom, Brent. I almost forgot to phone mine a couple of days ago on her birthday.
Uh-oh.
But I just remembered, and I can't believe I forgot it because my mother was born the day Britain declared war on Germany.
Wow.
I always say, Mom, I never forget your birthday because you always have your connection to Hitler.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, my kids are out there keeping them company.
Well, something super serious. Hey, I wanted to take a moment to wish my friend Joe Schneider, Squatch, Western New York Bigfoot, hominin X, all my thoughts, all our thoughts and prayers are with you, buddy. They're with you and Molly at this time. And we love you. We love you. And we wish that that's why I did this at the end. You're going to come on the show again. But until then, I'm going to end the show with this. There he is. The challenge has got. Oh, man. Oh, no.